All right, everybody, peace. Welcome to the Sorry to Bother You show. Wherever or however you are listening, we're so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I am your host, Kashawn Cottle, and this is my co-host, Mr. Dre Pennington. Dre, Dre, what a year it has been, man.
We
2020 is finally coming to an end. We have been through a lot. How are you feeling, man? How are you feeling?
all I gotta say is 2021 should be great. I'm hoping that it's great. Please let it be great.
Mhm.
Let 2020 was an eventful year for the history books, literally for the history books. So we'll see what happens. I'm good, man. I'm trying to stay ready, stay positive, stay motivated. It's a little hard, but it happens.
Yeah. Dre, this has been an unprecedented year across all facets of the globe. Um, like you said, things have happened this year that we have never seen. We probably never will see again. But as you know, we are a sports show and we focus on sports. So we will dive into the sports aspects of what has happened this year. But Dre, you actually had a good idea for what we should do for our final show of the year. Do you want to talk about what your idea was?
So yeah, so like since it's end of the year, so why not have like a year wrap up? Like we want to ask you guys, the fans, some questions, see what you guys are thinking, and hopefully we'll be able to answer some of your questions. And like you said, we're a sports show. We're gonna talk about sports, and we also do talk about life lessons. But we're probably mainly curving towards sports more so, but that's fine.
Yeah. Uh, I think some of these responses we had segue perfectly into lessons about life and how sports and life coincide with each other, which is the antithesis of our show. Uh, Dre, we have quite a bit of responses from our Instagram poll, but we chose the ones we felt like would be most beneficial for everyone to hear. Uh, so let's just dive right into it, right? I mean, it's our last
Yeah.
show. I'm pretty
Yeah.
relaxed right now. I'm eating some cookies that my grandma gave me for Christmas. So
Shout out to you all.
I'm in a relaxed state of mind right now. I got my water bottle with me too. So, guys, it's gonna be a very different show than what you're used to. But let's just dive into it, man. Dre, I have the responses with me, and I'll just read them off to you. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
So our first response that we got from our poll, which read, "What was your favorite sporting moment of 2020, or what was the biggest lesson you learned of 2020?" And this person's response was, the biggest lesson that they learned was that basketball is massive, with the three dots afterwards.
Three
Dot.
dots. All right.
I don't know if that's sarcasm or not, but Dre, why don't you take that one?
All right. So people don't realize basketball is now a world sport. If you look at the league, it is people of all ethnicities and people of all different backgrounds all over the world, all through different countries. It's ridiculous how much marketing basketball gets all over the world now. Different camps in different places, different countries, and different I would say it just touches everywhere. It touches a bit everywhere. So basketball is a huge sport. Also, there are different leagues around the world. So basketball touches just about everywhere if you really want to be honest.
Right.
So people don't know that, but it is a massive sport. And I don't know if it'll probably it's definitely not number one, but it's definitely in everyone's top five.
Absolutely. I agree. Yes, basketball is massive. Now, I would say, Dre, that over the past half decade, that basketball has had the highest exponential growth rate of any sport in the world. And I would say that's due to the ownership and the commissioner of the NBA, Mr. Adam Silver, and the way he has, what's the word I'm looking for? The way he has enveloped and distributed his game plan for how he wants the NBA to grow. He's made it very, very liberal, very intrusive, very player friendly. and it's come to the point now where it's actually a player-driven league.
Yeah.
And what you see is that a lot of ideas and a lot of concepts from the players are actually um, reminiscent, and they invoke the ideas of the fans themselves. And that is why the fans are so inclined to, watch the NBA, because they see their ideas being presented to themselves on the NBA platform. And I think that's all part of the marketing strategy by Adam Silver. So that is why I feel that, like you said, basketball has just grown exponentially, and basketball is massive, man. Like you were saying, a lot of people don't even know how many leagues there are.
Man,
Bro,
it's crazy to think about. Like think about like I would say they show like I want to say basketball games of overseas and stuff like that, like different leagues. They show that on the internet now, and the internet is also a very big reason why that has happened, because now people have access to watch anything they want.
right? I mean,
So
but go ahead, Trey.
I think that's like also a huge helping hand. And if you think about it, you only need to like practice basketball. You only need yourself and a ball. Like
Right.
you really only need that.
And Dre, you can speak for this because you're a professional basketball player. It seems like everywhere you go now, there is someone that has the dream of being a professional basketball player. But like you said, there's so many leagues, but there's still so few spots
Mm.
at the same time. And would you say that because there's so many players, so many people that want to get to that next level, that the talent level has increased because the competition has increased? Like the competition for each spot has become so intensified because of the number of people.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Like you got to think about it now. Like you are now fighting for a spot, and we can say it's in like one of probably like the lowest leagues. You're fighting for a spot for just that one spot. It's like hundreds and hundreds of people that you got to realize like it's not only you now that's going for that spot. Like it might be the guy down the street that you don't even remember, and then like the next person in the next town. Like it's so many people just for one spot in a league. Like it's crazy to think about.
Right, right. So Dre, so would you be willing and confident enough to make a prediction that basketball will become the most popular sport in the globe by the year 2025?
I will not make that prediction because I know for a fact that soccer is going to be the number. Like I'm sorry, football is the number one sport, and what else is it? And I want to say baseball is another pastime sport that everyone plays.
Okay.
I have no idea. I don't know how baseball is still there because I felt like it was on the decline, but people still love baseball, and football is probably it's just never gonna go away.
Also, there's a lot more money, and
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yes.
absolutely. But yeah, Drake, basketball is massive. Okay, let's go to our next response, which is this person says, this isn't funny, but the biggest lesson I learned is that people only care about themselves.
Ooh.
You want to tackle this one first, Trey?
I don't necessarily agree with that. I would say it's more so, that's just the people that you have around you. I would say,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe like they said, it's perspective. That's the lesson that they learned. So I guess you could, if they feel that way, that's them. But me personally, I feel like I've been around people that were more selfless than selfish.
That's well said.
Yeah.
Dre, I agree with you when it talks to me. We were talking about company you keep. I am a huge uh, proponent of whatever energy you put out is what you're going to get back. Whatever type of person you are going to be the type of people that end up surrounding you. Um, That's what I believe in, and that's the notion I follow. But I will say this, Dre, uh, us as individuals, we have to be able to read people from the jump and understand and see what people's true intentions are, right? And we have to understand that 95% of the people in this world really only care about themselves. And the good people that you meet in this life, you have to cherish and keep connected to you, keep them close, because that energy and that type of aura, you want to be surrounded by that at all times. What do you think?
Facts. No, I agree with that 100%. Because man, you never know who. I always say like you never know who you can meet that's genuinely like a great person.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's amazing to meet new people. So that's why I say like it when you meet someone good, like just try to keep them around as much as possible.
Right, absolutely. And this is also kind of a cliche, Dre, but you can't expect most people to treat you the same way you would treat yourself, right?
Yeah,
That's why it's so important to have self-confidence and to be self-aware of who you are as an individual, and to not do good things for the purpose of getting it done in return, right? Do good things for the sake of being a good person, no matter if it gets reciprocated or not. And I think that's what happens. People do good things and expect that person to reciprocate, the good intentions, the good deeds, but it doesn't happen. And so now the person feels betrayed, let down, and so then they start saying, "Well, okay, no one cares about people. Only care about themselves." And this is how a person maybe come to that conclusion. But Trey, like you said, surround yourself with good people, understand everyone's intentions, and and love yourself. Be self-aware. Have self-confidence in everything you do.
facts.
Yeah. Um. Did you have anything else you want to add to that?
I don't know, man. Hey, I guess keep your circle full of good people. I would say keep it small. Try to keep it small, and just go out in the world. Don't think everybody's evil. Oh my god,
Mm.
that's a that's a hard way of thinking. Like
Yeah.
everybody's for themselves. I'm like, whoa,
And
calm down.
that cynicism can weigh you down, like, mentally, man. If you think
Man, oof, I don't know.
yeah.
Gotta
But
gotta find a different crowd, man. That's all I say.
facts. But Dre, you know what? I will say this though. Throughout my years of playing basketball, every single teammate I've had, I can say, was a good teammate. I can honestly say that.
Yeah,
Not many guys are able to say that, and I think I'm blessed to be able to say that.
it's really good, honestly.
But not to get emotional or sentimental or anything. Uh, but okay, our third response we had was, my favorite sports moment was the LeBron tribute dunk to Kobe. Now, Dre, for those who don't know what this person is talking about, do you want to explain to them what?
Hey, the Krayla. Hey, Brian. Hey, 30. What's Brian? 36, 30. Was he 35 at that time?
Yes, he was 35 at the time.
Hey, 35 ain't that bad for him, man. He still got the bounce and everything. Like and it was beautiful too. Like people don't, man, I'm telling you, people don't realize, man. Brian, that's crazy. But that was a beautiful moment. I love all the tributes, especially to Kobe, especially since like that's everyone's Jordan growing up. Like that was probably like that's the closest thing we'll ever have to Jordan, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And you probably won't get too many like I don't think you'll get too many moments like that where people will try something like that in game. So I definitely respect the tributes to Kobe.
So, Dre, do you think LeBron knew what he was doing when he did that dunk? Because it was on the same day, right? The same exact day in the same court.
Man, I think he did, and he was like, I got put on for Kobe. Because come on now, like let's be honest, he's due for at least one or two fast breaks a game
Mhm.
by himself. So like I think him pulling that out is just amazing.
Is that one of LeBron's top 10 moments of his career?
It might be, honestly. Kobe a tribute to somebody and doing their dunk on the same day, same court. That's crazy. Yeah,
Wow.
I could say that. I think that'd be one of his.
Okay.
I
So
could be putting a lot of feeling into it, but I would think that that's one of his.
best moments.
Yeah.
So do you think have you ever seen an athlete's passing have such a global impact in the way Kobe's passing did?
Um, man, the only thing that I could ever really, and that's so harsh to like compare like some passing to passing, but the only thing I can think of is like not an athlete but an entertainer. When like MJ passed, like I remember seeing grown men crying
Mm-hmm.
from like the passing of Michael Jackson. Sorry guys, but yeah, like the passing of Michael Jackson. Like I remember seeing that. And I was like, whoa, because remember like Michael Jackson was before us, like way before us. So like I never got to see him like as he grew up. But that's some people's like idol, and people got to remember like Kobe was the idol, and people got mentalities from him.
Right. And it's beautiful to see the impact Kobe had, not just in the sports world, but even on people that who don't follow basketball or who don't follow sports in general. And it's
Yeah.
that your impact can transcend the field that you're working in. So do what you do in your field, but also look to inspire others outside of your field through your character. Because that's what people love about Kobe, not just the fact he's one of the top 10 greatest players of all time, but his character, how he carried himself. He was an intellectual. He cared about others. He held himself and others to the highest standard. And that is what people, like we talk about, surrounding ourselves with good energy, good traits. People want to be surrounded by that. You know what I mean?
Facts, man.
But
Great. You think, man? It's crazy.
absolutely, Kobe, a legend, one of the best to ever do it, man. And LeBron, top five, maybe top five out. For the
Wow.
sake of today's
Wow.
show, I will say he's in my top four. He's in my top four today for the sake of the show. So, congratulations, LeBron. You're moving up. Um, but Dre, our next response is basketball. Or sorry, the biggest lesson I learned is by basketball being taken away, I realized that was my only reason to be here. So mainly patience is what I learned. Um,
Yeah, you got this one.
yeah, this is an interesting response. Uh, I actually know this guy is pretty close with this guy right here. But I do want to tackle something a very important topic right here, Dre. This person said that he realized that basketball was the only reason he was meant to be here on this earth. Now,
Yeah.
I do believe that everyone is blessed with a very specific gift, and it's important that we are able to um, tap into that gift so we can fulfill our purpose for why we're meant to be here, right, on this earth. But I also think it's very important that we don't put anything materialistic or anything in the flesh on a pedestal, right? And so we have to find a balance of not worshiping what we do, but also loving what we do, right? So there's a difference between idolization and loving something. When we start to idolize something, that's when we start to feel like if our gift is taken away, then we start to feel like there's no reason for us to be here, which is not the case. And people start to feel like that because they have idolized their gift. They have put their gift on a pedestal. You know what I mean? And we can't put anything fleshly, anything materialistic on a pedestal because just like we've seen with COVID, it can be taken away just like that. And
Man.
and he talked about, or sorry, this person talked about learning patience. Yes, patience is very key with anything in life. And I think we all learned that with COVID, with being on lockdown for 3 months almost, not having anything to do. But I think more important than patience, we have to learn to not put anything materialistic on a pedestal because those things are temporary and it can be taken away just like that. And there's no substance in those things. And so that's what I would tell this person right here. But also patience is very key. Dre, what do you think about this one?
Man, like you said, like you can't put that on a pedestal because if you only like, in my opinion, that you never know what your gifts are, honestly, until you're forced outside of your comfort zone. And if you only think that like basketball is my only thing and that's the only thing you're ever gonna do, like, yo, man, the ball stops one day and you never know. Your gift might be to mentor children how to play basketball. Like you just never know. Like so to that person, like I understand basketball is life, like ball is life, yeah. But at the same time, you gotta realize like, your gift may be you may also have another gift. You never know.
Absolutely, Dre. And you said it best. And I don't want to make it sound like
Yeah, we're not trying to
on him or anything, because we were in the same boat, Dre, me and you, back
man.
we were we were, in cabin fever going crazy because we couldn't play any basketball. But um like he said, patience. We have to learn to not idolize these things, man. You know what I mean? And it's something we all struggle with. All of us struggle with it. And it's an everlasting, it's a constant battle that we have to learn to win. And it's about growth, that constant growth, learning that we can't put anything on a pedestal, and that just comes with maturity, I think.
Facts. I
But
honestly think that.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, I definitely do not want to go back to lockdown. It was
Yeah, that was rough, man. I'm not gonna lie, that's a rough time.
character growth. Character growth right here, man.
Man. Oh my God.
Oh man, but yeah, so the next response we have, Dre, is my favorite sports moment is the return of Alex Smith. You want to take this one?
Oh, so for those who do not know who Alex Smith is, he is an American football player. American football. So he plays for the Washington football team.
Yes.
And he basically had an injury that honestly for most is career ending. It's actually worse than career ending. It could be like life changing injury.
Mhm.
And he persevered and he kept working and got his body back right, and ultimately got back on the field, got back doing what he loves.
Mhm.
And I don't think most people thought about that too much, because here's a guy who he was probably close to not being able to walk again, if I'm not mistaken. Like that is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, yeah,
And he's back on the field throwing touchdowns.
yeah. Throwing touchdowns. How many surgeries did he have? He had 17, right, Dre?
I think it was around there. Yeah, like that, like, to think of the pain, the rehab, like to go through that, and then like mentally you have to get back in shape with things. Like you have to like mentally be fit for that. So I think that's a triumph. Like honestly, just for him going through that.
Right. And now he has the Washington football team in contention to win the division, right?
Yeah. So shout out to him, man, for real. He's about to he about to go to the playoffs, man. About to get them extra checks. I respect that.
Is he your comeback player of the year in the NFL?
He might be. I don't know who's had a better story than him.
I can't think of any.
Yeah. Remember, hey, sports all about a narrative. Who's got a better narrative than him?
All about the narrative, Trey. Yes.
All about the narrative, man.
Does it sell? Can we sell this?
Facts.
Um, yeah, Dre, I have nothing to add to that. You said it best. The guy is the definition, the embodiment of perseverance for this year. Um, the next response we have, Dre, is my favorite sports moment is the Bucks walking off and boycotting their NBA playoff game. Uh, I know you were covering the bubble pretty attentively when it was going on. I'll let you take this one away.
So, basically, that there was a killing of another black man who, and this, I want to say it's in Milwaukee, right? On that, like, I want to say about a week before, and at the time, the country was going through a type of change that people thought was needed, and one of the ways that the players thought that they could get like a focus on this change is the fact that they could walk off and not play in the game. And this isn't just any game. This is a playoff game, and it's on. Like they just spent like so much money trying to get things prepared for these NBA players.
Right.
And if people don't realize like how pivotal that is, think of the amount of money, TV sponsorship, and the amount of like viewership that was affected by that missing of that one game.
Right.
So that's pivotal. Like that's a big moment in history. Like that may be something that'll never happen again, or it may happen again. It may happen again in the future. You never know. But it was something that people like. It was the players they wanted to bring about change.
Right. Right. And Dre, I know you remember when we covered the bubble on our show, I talked about protesting with a purpose.
Yeah.
Doing it for the sake of doing it, but actually have a reason, have an agenda to why you're doing this. And remember, Dre, when we first talked about this, I wasn't too sure about what the Bucks were doing. I was questioning a lot of what was going on in the bubble at that time. But remember, the NBA actually came out with the policy reform, and it came out with a list of needs and agendas that they wanted to accomplish. Remember, and I
Yeah.
don't the points off the top of my head, but it showed me that there was actual intent, actual purpose to what was going on, and to why the Bucks are protesting. Um, and we also talked a little bit, Dre, about players leaving the bubble because of that. But I still stand by this, that you can't leave your platform if you want to use your platform.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want to use your platform, you have to stay on your platform. Because if you lose it, if you step off from your platform, you're no longer able to use it. Um, but I think Dre, this also has shown that a lot of these players today are willing to stand up and to make a change. And you could say this maybe influenced by Colin Kaepernick. Perhaps not, but like you said, this might be a changing of the guard for the NBA, since it is a player-driven league. Um, but who knows? We'll see. Do you
And
think that this can perhaps cause a massive shift in the NBA? This moment right
so so just as I was about to say that, I'm sorry, I wasn't even trying to cut you off. Um, yeah, I think like if you realized right after that happened and the NBA event then like became like, I don't want to say trendsetter because that's so disrespectful to what I think that they were doing. The NBA essentially like every other league after them came with some type of either reform or like not just league but just like I want to say major sport, major sport league came with some type of reform or they try to do something in communities and black and brown communities.
right,
And I that's like you said, use your platform, and the fact that that platform caused such a change to
hmm
me is huge. It's still like we're still a little far from where we want to be, but it's getting better, I
right,
would say.
right. I still stand by my stand by what I said a couple months ago, that I do think that some of what people were doing in some of the leagues, some of their protesting was insincere because they saw someone else do it. Uh, I still think some of that was insincere, but um, that's another topic for another day, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but it was refreshing to see that these players are willing to take a stand. Um, but I think that's a good segue into our next response, Dre. That this person's response was the biggest lesson person learned was that politics is for the birds. For
Man,
those who don't know, can you explain to them what "for the birds" means?
it is. So I feel like is that an American thing, or is that just like is that a universal like saying?
I think that's a definitely a American.
American. All right. It's a little hard to I would say to explain. So like it is. It's I wouldn't say it's not important, but it's like I don't know how to explain that way. I'm not gonna lie. You got me on this one. You got this one.
The way so for the birds, Dre, I think the best way to explain it basically is that it's not SHIT.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the best way to explain it. Now you know me, I am pretty apolitical about things, but uh, yes, I'll let you kind of tackle that now with.
Oh. All right. So basically, by that response, we seen how actually I feel like the world seen how politics were for the U.S. for the year, and it at a point in time people felt like it was just like it was a I don't know, it was like a carnival. Like you can't. It's something that you could not explain if you were to explain to someone from like 10 years from now. They'll be like, "Well, like what was going on then, and like who was doing this?" Like
Mhm.
it was that I don't want to say unprofessional, but it was nearing that you could say,
Right.
and it's not anyone's like, yeah, it is someone's fault. It's everyone's fault, but we're it was it was not the best political stance. Political like just from debates to policies to just everything. Like it was nuts to be in America and watching this, and then you gotta think about selecting a new leader.
Right.
It's crazy to think about.
Um, I'm not going to get into this on a national level, because I don't think that's where change needs to happen. You know me, Dre.
Yeah,
Almost 2 years now. Have always said that the only real change occurs at a local level within our own community. So if you really want to make a change and you really want to make a difference, look at who you're voting for in your local election. For your mayors, for your possibly congressmen, for your DA. That's where the real change and the real reform is going to come, not at the national level, right? At the local level. So let's really that the emphasis and the energy that people are putting into the national and general election, let's put that into our local elections, right? And that's where I stand on this.
mm,
But to say politics is for the birds,
no,
I think that's I won't say indiscreet, but that is a dangerous statement to make, because to completely just turn off from politics is dangerous, because you have to be self-aware, or not self-aware. You have to be aware of what's going on in your own country. That's from a global aspect. But so you can't
you
say it's first. You can still be apolitical, but you do have to be aware of what's going on.
man, like and you should people I say this to people all the time. I'd be like, yo, so who's your I'm like I ask people, I'm like, so do you know who like your mayor is or your one of the senators? Like, can you name me a senator, or can you name me like a like I just like you said, the local level is very big,
Mhm.
and so when people say like, oh, politics is no good for anyone, I'm like, it's not. I was like the national level. I was like, I don't think you should worry like that's to worry about, yeah, but not as much as you want to look at for your local level. I was like, that's it's pretty important. You should know who's running your state. That's where you live at right now.
They have a million and one things to say about presidential candidates, but like you said, can't tell you who their DA is, can't tell you who their mayor is. So that's the real problem that needs to be fixed.
Man,
But it starts with yourself, though. It starts with teaching yourself.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so Trey, those were our best responses we had on Instagram. Now, I want to hear from you, Trey. What was either your favorite sports moment of 2020 or the lesson you learned of
My
2020.
favorite. So one of my favorite sports moments. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's like it's funny, but I mess with it the most, and it's kind of funny, and I don't even like this team that much. Is the Lakers, well, ex-Lakers guard Rondo sitting there with his son and celebrating the championship. Like, to me, that is so. Could you imagine that? Like, really, like, like my kids are here, like my son's here, and we celebrating together. Like, that is dope.
Right.
And then like, and I think that's a huge like father son moment that like I don't think a lot of people. Not, I just think in general, some people don't get, and that's dope to me.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
huge lesson I learned. Um, like the person who in our response that patience is key, and things can be taken away from you very, very, very easily.
Yeah.
And I've kind of always knew this lesson, but I think that's like one of the bigger lessons that I've learned since for this year, I would say.
Um, what are you most looking forward to in 2021?
Oh man, the journey. I don't I don't know where my destination is going to be. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I just know that along the way, the journey should be the funnest part of everything.
Mm,
And I enjoy the process. So the process and the journey is definitely what I'm looking forward to next year.
well said, Dre.
Yeah,
Well,
man, got to. What about you, sir? What was your favorite sports moment, and what was your lesson for the year?
Dre, you know me. I love to do lists, right? So I am gonna cheat a little for my favorite sports moments, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a one, and I'm going to have a 1A and a 1B. All right.
Wow, that's crazy.
Still
Okay,
still
you don't have to say you have three. Just say you have three. That's okay.
my favorite sports moment, Dre,
Okay.
number one, is occurred on March 11th, 2020, when the NBA decided to cancel the season due to COVID. And I know that is maybe an unpopular or a surprise answer to me for some people, but the reason I want to say that is because in that moment right there, and I'm talking specifically to basketball players because that's what we are, professional athletes, right? I was talking to basketball players specifically, or athletes, sorry, athletes specifically. Um, that moment should have showed you that, and we talked about this earlier, you cannot idolize and you cannot put the game or whatever sport you play on a pedestal because, like you said, Dre, it can be taken from you in an instant. And we have to always have a contingency plan. We have to always know what the next step is. How are we going to continue to move forward in our life if something that we love is taken away? And I think that the reason I chose that moment right there is because that was that moment right there should have taught us the biggest lesson that we needed to learn for this year. And that is to continue to move forward at all costs and to not idolize these materialistic things. Um, so my number one choice for the top sports moment would be that moment right there when the NBA season was.
Okay.
But on a positive note, my 1A moment is when the NBA resumed. Because it can show you what can happen if you stick to the course and you stay positive and you continue to persevere and stay patient no matter your circumstances. Good things will always happen, and we got the NBA bubble regardless of what happened in the previous months. We got basketball back.
Very true.
And my 1B moment was, so you talked about Rondo, uh,
Yeah.
son at half court, around surrounded by the confetti, and they just won their championship. My 1B moment was when Tua Tagovailoa sat on the Miami Dolphins field after his first NFL game that he played in. And the reason I chose that moment right there is because it shows you the gravitas and how important sports can be to an individual. Because mind you, Dre, we talked about this game. Tua only played one drive.
Man.
He only threw the ball like 3 times, but he was overcome with so much emotion just by getting on the field in his first NFL game because he has worked so hard his entire life to get to that moment. He just wanted to embrace it. Even if he wasn't the reason for that team winning that game, for Miami winning that day, he still got on the field and he wanted to embrace that moment. And so the reason that's also on my list, Dre, is because I want to tell people that maybe aren't getting playing time or that maybe aren't in the right situation, the situation they feel is most conducive for them, embrace it, love it, because people would kill for that opportunity that you have. So just live in the moment, embrace it, love it, just take it all in, because like we just said earlier, it can be taken away from you just like that. So the reason I chose that is because it shows the appreciation that Tua had for the game and the appreciation for where he knew where he was in that moment. And so that's my 1B for top sports moment. But the biggest lesson I learned, Dre, is there's three keys that people should take into 2021.
Okay.
Patience,
Yeah.
perseverance, and faith.
There we go.
Patience for the things to come, perseverance for the adversity that you'll go through, and faith for the unknown. And that is where I will leave you at, Dre.
Oh, there we go. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's like a whole little acronym that you could like put up somewhere. PPF.
Thank you, Dre. Thank you. I try. I try. But yeah, but on a serious note, 2020 has taught us a lot of things, Dre. And I know I'm kind of getting off on a tangent right now, but I do want to say I'm very appreciative for the fans that support us, our support system as a whole, and for you, Dre, for being the best co-host in our field of podcasting and sports coverage. I couldn't ask for a better co-host, man. Thank you.
Same to you, man. That's how I feel. I'll be like, yo, I found somebody that got me into something that I genuinely enjoy, and it's just nothing but enjoyment.
Even though we rarely agree on anything on this, I wouldn't want to go to battle with anyone else, man.
Very true.
Yeah, but with that being said, Dre, if you don't have anything else to add, I think we're about to wrap up our last show of 2020, man.
Yeah. Do you want to get your last shout outs in?
I will, but you go first.
All right. Shout out my brother. His name is Vincel Teague, man. Check him out. He actually made me some clothes that I'm gonna be wearing for my New Year's Day. Not like I'm going anywhere, but just to wear because I feel like this is a big day, and that is something that I feel like he like put his hard work into. You can see him on Instagram at Lord in the Stitch, and he is a monster at making clothes. Check out his clothes. You can also find him on Poshmark. He is it's amazing. Also, shout out my other brother Brandon Rembert. I don't know. I'll be messing up. I still got the hat on. Still wear it every day, every time, because I love to show support for people who I consider my family. Absolutely. And shout out to you, Kashawn. Shout out to you and your family, man. Y'all are always nicest people, the just genuinely great people. So love that. Shout out to my fam. Shout out to the family also. They've been nothing but support and through health and wellness. And thank God for everything, especially for this year. Thank God I made it through.
Yes, absolutely, Dre. Well said. I couldn't have better. Dre, shout out to the Nerdy in Many Ways YouTube channel. Shout out to the Tatiana Jasmine YouTube channel. Shout out to the D'Anthony Evans YouTube channel. Shout out to my boy Stephen Horton, who is currently working on a new graphic design for us, and that will be coming to you guys soon in the new year. Shout out to the fans that support us constantly on a daily basis. the show could literally not be done without you. So we are so appreciative for everything you guys do. Shout out
Thanks.
to our Patreon supporters as well. Shout out to our subscribers on YouTube. Shout out to the people that listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Shout out to our families. We are literally so grateful for you guys. I know my parents are such a blessing. So are my cousins and my sisters, my aunts, my uncles. Such a blessing. Literally, I could not do anything without them. So I love you guys. Shout out to the local boys and girls clubs across.
Hey,
Yes,
shout
because
out to y'all for real.
because especially during these times, they are so essential. Shout out to the essential workers. Um, and also Dre, just shout out to God. I mean, God has been such a blessing to us. And hopefully he continues to bless us in the new year. Uh yeah, Dre, wow, what a year it's been.
Been a
But
good year, man.
but oh, Dre, this is totally off the cuff, totally off script. Alabama is going to beat Notre Dame by 30 points in the
Oh
second
wow,
game.
I
But
agree.
talk about that on the next show, guys. Continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions. Enjoy the new year. Be safe. We'll be back at you guys soon. And peace.
Peace.